What is going on? And welcome back to the Noble Steady Sort of Sports Talk. We're back with episode 5. Can you believe it, Broseph? How's it going, buddy?
We're 5 years old. We're in kindergarten now.
We're getting up there. We are steadily getting up there. Well, today we got an action-packed episode. We got some playoff hockey, some playoff basketball we're talking about. We got the NFL draft, and then we're gonna talk about the Shohei Ohtani betting. We have a little bit of updates for that one. It wasn't him betting; it was his interpreter.
Breaking news.
Breaking news here. You heard it here, probably fifth, but we'll take first. It's okay. So anyway, Joey, like I said, how's it going, my friend? How's it going today?
I'm definitely in a more easy position as a sports fan now than I was last week. Oh
yeah.
Stars are in the playoffs. We'll have the weekly Stars report a little bit later.
But of course, now you can now you can focus on one team.
Yes.
Unfortunately, that's the bad part. I think we
Yes.
could say for both of us.
So I think it was after we recorded, I went to check the schedule for the Pelicans series and the Stars series, and they were playing every game the same day. And on weekdays, it was going to be at the exact same time. So your boy was not too happy. Thank goodness for YouTube TV having multi-view of
I was just about to
the
say.
NBA playoffs and the Stanley Cup playoffs, because that was a savior for sure. Except for last night. Last night was
last night was a little different. We can kind of jump into it. Last night was a little different. We actually weren't able to watch the game because it was broadcast on NBA TV, and as part of their, I guess, contract or however they like to play it, they black out the games locally. So we were not able to watch it, which was kind of a blessing because it wasn't pretty at all. It was a very sour note to go out on. I think I can speak for Joey as well on this one. There needs to be some changes made. And
I'll interrupt you there. I think there are some changes that need to be made, but if Zion's healthy and he's in that series, I think it's different. I think we put it to him. We may not win the series, but we can at least make it closer. There were just people guarding people that if Zion's on the floor, it's a completely different series.
Well, I'm gonna stop you there. I don't disagree with you. It's a completely different series if Zion's playing. The issue is there's a meshing. I shouldn't say a meshing. There's a conflict of styles now, right? Unfortunately, and I like Bi Brandon Ingram. For those of you who don't know, the issue is now he is a ISO ball handling, ball dominant wing when it comes on the offensive end. Now, there's sometimes he can, two dribble, hit that elbow for a mid range shot, which is great, and that's his bread and butter, and he's good at it. But I don't think it meshes with the current way the team's constructed, right? With putting Zion as the quote unquote point Zion and letting him basically have the floor spaced out for him so he can either drive and kick, get a high screen, create some more mismatches. I think Trey Murphy and Herb Jones are a better fit. And with BI's contract being basically not expired, it's up at the end of this next season, so he'll be an unrestricted free agent. I think that's going to be the move this offseason. I think you're going to see some movement with BI.
I think it's just, if Dort is guarding Zion, it's a different series. That's just my opinion.
I'm not trying to go by just and this isn't, please don't take it as this is just my observation with this series, and this isn't an overreaction.
You're speaking for the overall.
I'm speaking for the overall.
You're not just talking about this series itself. I'm talking about this series itself is different if Zion's on the floor.
100%. Don't disagree with you.
I'm the type of person that I sit there and say one player doesn't make a series, doesn't make a team, but it definitely changes the momentum. It changes the swing of things when you have Zion out there on the court.
Well, let me ask you real quick. Zion stayed relatively healthy this year. I believe if this wasn't his healthiest season, it was dang near closest. do you have faith that he stays healthy consistently enough to find, like, if you were going to make that move with Brandon Ingram? Because if you do move Ingram, you're essentially putting your stamp that this is Zion's team.
I think that if they do move BI and they keep Zion, then you will see more of the rest. Coach's decision next to his name for rest and load management, which is a dirty, dirty word to speak of in the NBA. But you'll see him rest a little more. Maybe not 30 games like people want him to, but it'll be, he might take the midweek game off. Enjoy the weekend.
Well, some back-to-backs, I can see that happening. I mean, sure. But I think they'll keep him intact for the 65 game rule, where it'd be eligible for all NBA and season awards. That's just my personal opinion on where they should kind of go with this team. I don't think you can I know some people are going to say, well, move CJ. I just don't see the value of getting moving CJ. I think with the expiring contract of BI, and he's still young, and he'll still carry a little bit of value, so you can get a good return and try to maybe shift this team, or hell, even maybe get some more veterans, right? Try to get some, because it's time to win now. Like, this is the window that's opened up, and we got to start making steps.
The Pelicans are definitely in a win now mode. It's
we definitely need
that window is small. Yes, I think that's another thing. When Zion when we had that quick offense, when we first got Zion, people would notice that Zion kind of slowed it down a bit because we were trying to facilitate utilizing him. But now when he's out there, it's okay. He can keep up. Now Jonas is that slow point. So now it's getting him to keep up. So
I see, man, I love Jonas. But I do agree.
Don't get me wrong. I love Jonas. He's a fantastic player. I think he needs to pick it up a little bit, because there are times where he's out on the floor, it just looks like he's moving in slow motion.
Well, I mean, he's a big guy. He's a throwback center, right? 7 foot, thick build. He's not Chet Holmgren, who's 7'1", skilled, like pretty much 7'1" point guard. And I mean that weight wise as well. But I do think Jonas does serve a purpose, and I do think he was vastly underused in this series. I do understand he kind of is a liability on defense with Chet, because he's going to bring him out to the 3-point line. But still, that the offensive rebounding and inside presence was our advantage without Zion. So we, at least in my opinion, we should have exploited that a little bit more and not play him 12 minutes in Game 3.
It's a balance, and I don't think anybody will ever
look. And I'm salty too. Still, this shit's still fresh.
Yeah, I got to the point where I was like, with the Pelicans, I saw people posting, hey, who's coming to the funeral tonight? And I kind of got a chuckle out of it, because the way the series had gone, it truly felt like, all right, that's it. And even the play-in games, like, it felt like there was just something missing, that we couldn't get over that hump to be successful, to put our foot on their throat and just keep it going.
When Zion went out, the air went out. Like, I was there at the game where he got hurt. The air went out of the stadium, and I really feel like it was almost like a balloon deflating, right? When he went out, I feel like
was
how
that
our
the
season.
Sacramento game?
No, that was against the Lakers.
That was the Lakers? Okay.
Lakers in the play-in. He scored 40 points, goes up, hits a shot. He says he felt it when he went up and after he hit it. I'm not a medical expert. It just, man, with 3 minutes left, that thing must have been really hurting. I mean, not like it would have made a difference anyway. We'd have got destroyed by the Nuggets. But
yeah, I think either way, whatever the result would have been in that first one, we were getting swept.
We were so close.
We weren't getting a gentleman sweep. We were just getting plain swept.
No, I agree with you there. What I mean by so close, so close, it always just seems like we're a little bit away, right? It's like, oh, if it wasn't for injuries, we'd be good. Oh, if it wasn't for like us not playing well, oh, it's the matchup, whatever. It's like, it's time, enough of this excuses. Let's figure it out and let's get going.
And I think they will. I think,
yeah,
you give it time, let the wound kind of heal, and then, by the time the draft comes, it's all right. Here we go. You know,
Now, being that the season ended on a sour note, I don't want to poo-poo on the entire thing. Like I said, Zion was one of the healthiest he's been in a long time. There's a lot of positives. A 49 win season is nothing to scoff at. You know, and credit where credit's due.
yeah, no, it was. I think if you're a Pelicans fan, you know, yes, it sucks that we got, you know, knocked out the playoffs in the way we did, but you know, you look at this season as a whole, and it's the pieces are there. It's now we just gotta get consistency going, and
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
don't sit there and get blown out by a team, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, here we go. You know,
It's
when we
consistency, like you said.
played Miami at home, we couldn't buy a bucket. Then the following week, when we played, I keep forgetting who we played the following week. We were at that game, but I mean, Indiana, we were lights out. You know, Jose Alvarado was like this to the floor, and he chucked the ball up and made it. You know, like you have those nights and you have those nights, and we got to try to get the good nights to be a little more than the bad nights.
Well, that's another thing is that you have all these guys off the bench, and that kind of goes. You know, I didn't see the game, only watched the highlights, but there does seem to be, at least last night, there was some kind of. I'm not saying anybody phoned it in. I'm saying that the effort could have been better, but the guys who were giving the effort are the guys coming off the bench, and we need to. If you're not going to play them full time, then they need to find guys that are going to start that are going to give that effort 100%. And that's how you build a team, right? Like that's how all these teams, like the Warriors, they built a system, and they're like, okay, these are three guys. We have Draymond, Clay, and Steph. This is how things are done, and either you fall in line or you f off, kind of thing.
It's sports in general. You know,
Yeah,
you see where your players are good and you put them in, but it's also
too.
so I'll put it in hockey terms because this is the way I can kind of describe it a little easier.
Area of expertise. I get it, man.
You know, you have in hockey, you don't have like bench points. It's first line, second line, third line, fourth line. So you go with the matchup. You know, say you and I are coaching against each other. My fourth line may be dominant against your second line, but your third line may be dominant against my third line. So you just got to go with where you know, like I can put these guys here at this point, get them in there. You know, he can definitely drive on this guy a lot easier than he can their starter. So it's a chess match for sure.
So with that being said, are you trying to say that maybe we should consider a coaching change?
I like Willie Green. I wish we had the watch party for the draft, and it was what's the running joke about Willie Green whenever
Gotta
they
give
lose?
him credit. Gotta give him credit.
We gotta stop it. We gotta stop it. We can't give him credit. We gotta be like, nah, F that. Like we sucked. We have to beat that. We have to be better. We have to start holding ourselves accountable for the bad play, the mistakes. You can't just give them. You can't. You know, that's a cop out. We're going to give them credit. They're really good. No, we need to be better.
Well, you're in the NBA. Everybody's good.
Right.
I will say it's definitely a generic thing, but it's one of those sayings that somebody kind of points out to you. It's a glass shattering moment, and now that's all you hear from him every time we lose. So it's kind of like when Derek Carr, when we were losing early in the season, and he was playing really bad. And he's like telling everybody, look, guys, it's going to get better. Just patience and patience and patience and like positive attitude. And everybody's like, why are you not as mad as we are? Like, F that.
They don't want to, they get this, you know, it's the public relations 101. Don't show anger. Don't be pissed off. You know, just tell people if you're calm, everything's going to be okay. Well, sometimes the house is on fire and you're in the kitchen and
everything is not fine.
You got 18 rooms between you and the front door. So, you know.
So it's like, you know, we do want to see the humanity sometimes, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
be aggravated.
You also want people to, you know, hey, they're not going to crack. Well, they're not going to crack under pressure.
That's
You know, hey, we're feeling a little bit of pressure, but it's going to be fine. Like we got this figured out, or we'll
Yeah.
get it figured out. Which, think of it like this: which would be better? Okay, we're on a 4-game losing streak after winning 3, and I go up to the podium and I'm just like, you know, this sucks. We fucking suck. This is bullshit. Like, I'm calling out my wide receiver. I'm calling out this guy. This guy was lazy on his route. He missed that tackle.
So Derek Carr.
Or do you want, hey, we just got to take this, like, what we can't change what already happened. We have to go with what's better. And I'm a calm demeanor.
No. Completely agree with you. I think you misunderstood. Or maybe I didn't explain it well enough. What I mean is not like that, but be like, yeah, we did not perform well.
You want
stunk it up the field.
You want constructive anger.
Yeah, like we stunk. We're gonna work. We're gonna go back, watch the film, figure out where the mistakes, and fix it. Not just, hey guys, we did some good things today. It's okay. It's like it's not okay. Like we're results-driven business, guys. Like you got to either win the big games or find somebody else that will.
Right.
But Joey, let's transition real quick. I need something to hear something happy. Tell me about how the Dallas Stars have turned this around, okay?
Oh man. I don't know what happened in games 1 and 2, but
they ate their Wheaties.
They're a road team. They're one of the best road teams in the NHL, and they've proved it. They went into Vegas's barn and played statistically better hockey. Credit to the Pat McAfee show. He had John Butchergross on, who does their NHL stuff, and he said that the metrics he's looked at and the analysis he's seen, Dallas has played better hockey than the Vegas Golden Knights have. Now, does that necessarily result in the fact that this game should be 4-0? No, it doesn't. But a lot of people, including myself, wrote them off after game 2. We were even the commentators, like there's a group I'm in on Facebook. It's all Dallas Stars fans, and we're all like, dude, just give Vegas the Stanley Cup now. Like there's no point in playing this series anymore, because before the puck drop, they're talking about, oh, well, no team that has been down 2-0 when they're the number 1 seed and they're the home team down 2-0 has ever come back and won a series. And it's like, just crown them, like give them the cup. They've beaten the salary cap rule. But
don't you love those obscure like stats so like that? Sorry to interrupt.
Oh yeah, no,
it's like their third cousin that pitches left-handed has thrown 70% strikes. It's like, wait, what? What does this matter?
It's laughable to me sometimes when they bring those out, and it's just like, well, can we play the game first? Like, can the puck drop first? Can we get through the anthem? Can we, all that stuff before we start crowning a team a winner?
No, 100%.
I heard it in another series. Like there was another series where they were just like, oh, this team, a team that's done this is never. It's like, whoa, let's pump the brakes on this. Let's see how the game starts. Then you bring up these stats. Then you bring up these facts where it's, oh, a team down 2-0 hasn't won a series in the Stanley Cup playoffs as the number 1 seed. It's like, no, stop.
Yeah, really. I mean, look, I don't hate how about this? Like, I don't hate those stats. I mean, they're comical sometimes when they really have to reach for them. I mean, it can. I agree with you. Like, dude, you got to play the game, but it can give like the fan that may not realize it a broader view and kind of give them a whole picture of like what the team's up against, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's so much to be like, well, they suck, they're done. It's more like, man, they got to overcome a lot.
This is a different series now. Like it's gone from a best of 7 to a best of 3. Dallas still has home ice advantage for the rest of the series, but with Dallas, you have to look at it as less of, I need to take away a game on the road. I need to take away a game at home. The road team has won every game this series. So that tells you that, win one at home, and it's likely that you have an advantage. I mean, granted, you have an advantage. You're up 3-2 in a 7-game series. So, and it's a defending Stanley Cup champion you're going against. So you're back already against the wall. No, absolutely not. Plus they have very talented players, a very talented core group that honestly, Dallas has it too. They've got a lot of young guys, mainly with Dallas. Logan Stankoven is I want to say he won an AHL award for a player of the year. You got Miro Heiskanen, leader on the team, getting kind of older.
But that's steady.
Wyatt Johnston, Wyatt Johnston's only 20. He's 20 years old and he's scoring goals in the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's, the veterans on that team, I feel for Dallas to be more successful. You need these veterans to step up. Tyler Seguin, Jamie Benn, Roope Hintz. You need them to start stepping up. Right now, the young guys are the Stankovens, the Johnstons. Like, let's spread that wealth a little bit on the ice. But I mean, it's worked so far.
Well, to me, if it's like if I have the young guys stepping up, and I'm assuming the ones that you weren't expecting to really step up, and then you still have these veterans in your back pocket, like that's house money to me, man. Because then you're like, okay, well, I know I got these guys in the back. I got these vets that they're just figuring it out. But once they get going, plus these young guys playing good, we're gonna be something to a real force to mess with.
I mean, I could tell you right now, if you'd have told me that Tyler Seguin wouldn't have scored a goal in this playoff yet, I would have probably called you crazy.
Well, exactly.
But
it's there.
Dadonov, a former Golden Knight, got a goal last night. Ty Dellandrea got a goal on a beautiful. He's just standing there ready to go, just waiting to face the puck. And Craig Smith just sends it in. It bounces off him, goes right in. It's like that moment just lit a fire under them. Be like, guys, we can do this. Wyatt Johnston hitting it from the goal line, just beating him. Like, he beat Vegas's goalie was up against the post like this. He beat him right here. Scored a goal just in this little pocket. You don't see that from these teams that, you don't see it from the Tampas who get eliminated like that. You see it from teams that destiny is calling their name, and it's hoisting Lord Stanley's Cup at the end of the season, hopefully.
I love how we're trying to speak this into existence. Universe, are you listening?
Listen, Roope Hintz last night at the end of the game. It was empty net for Vegas. He took a slap shot to the thigh.
Ow.
On a dive, he blocked it. He dove down to block it, took it to the thigh, got up kind of gingerly, was kind of limping around, and I forget which player it was, broke up, stole the puck from the top of right by the blue line, and you just see Roope reach out, grab it, and just wrist it right in the net. And I mean, it was just a weight lifted off of the shoulders of Dallas fans, just like, okay, we can do this. And you see, you saw it in the building last night, the Vegas fans just leaving in droves after that goal was scored. And I kind of did a little you know how you watch a game and you're just like, there's the dagger right there. And you're just like, super excited and just full energy. I'm just waving at the TV going, bye guys. Enjoy missing traffic that you're going to catch traffic.
You aren't going na too?
I tell you what, you talk about na. The Florida Panthers and the Tampa Bay Lightning are in a series. Florida beat them. Yeah. And for the last 2 minutes of the game, Florida fans, na.
That's hilarious.
The whole
gosh, it's
minutes.
hilarious.
I
love that.
There is nothing like, you know what? My headline says it best. There is nothing like NHL hockey in the playoffs. The NBA doesn't hold water to the Stanley Cup playoffs. I'm telling you now. That is an opinion of mine.
I was about to say, let's say opinion.
I'm leaning that on fact.
Well,
but here's why. Okay. When
it's a subjective opinion, and I have no problem with that.
You've been to many Pelicans games. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's a star player on the other team. Right? That star player does something amazing. The entire arena, whoa! And it could be as simple as just a little crossover and the guy overreact a little bit, right?
Look, I get where you're going.
You're going to get that for hits, But if somebody like that does that, you're not getting as heavy a reaction in the NHL because that's our rival. Our team needs our help. We don't need to help those other people.
I also think that's a lot more the way that leagues are kind of built around, right? The NBA made a decision a long time ago to build their league around their players, not so much the teams.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't get a lot of fans of just a team, right? They're more of a LeBron fan, a KD fan, like an Anthony Edwards fan. Like you know what I mean? Like so that's where it is a little different.
Yeah.
Steph Curry fan, yeah.
If you look at like the NHL, like they wanted to build up with their stars, but Sidney Crosby, he's a star of the league. Do you know what most of the fans around the league think of Sidney Crosby? He's a bitch. He's a bitch because he doesn't get he pokes and prods for fights, and then he folds like a towel.
But that's what I'm saying, though. Like, I mean, well, they also have enforcers to handle that. Like, you don't see LeBron getting in fights. You don't see like all the other examples I gave. Like, and I don't disagree with you. I just really think it's a little different. And then, like for a perfect example, you're talking about Lord Stanley's Cup. That is a brand all in its own. Is a Stanley Cup playoffs, right? That's not the NBA doesn't have that.
The hardest trophy to win in all of sports, Lord Stanley's Cup.
We'll agree to disagree.
Just because of how physical these games are, and the fact that you're playing a game every other night.
I don't disagree. Look, I'm not disagreeing with you, buddy.
We've had this discussion on this show.
We've had this discussion many times on this show.
You said the Vince Lombardi Trophy is the hardest trophy to win in all sports. I told you incorrect. It's Lord Stanley's Cup. The best part about Lord Stanley's Cup now that no other trophy can hold to that trophy is when you win that trophy, your name goes on it, and it stays on it for a long time. I say that because it used to be your name's on there forever.
Didn't they run out of room or something?
When the Capitals won, they had to add a new ring to the bottom because they were out of room. So they had to take a ring off. But your name is still on there, and it's in the Hockey Hall of Fame as a Stanley Cup champion.
You think they're like, yeah, we'll put people's names on there. They're like, hey, aren't we going to run out of room eventually? And they're like, yeah, that's a future guy's problem.
They had a graphic where it's like if the Stanley Cup never removed names from it and how tall it would be impossible to carry around the ice.
How big would it be, Joey? Like
it'd
7 feet tall?
It'd probably be about
because you can't teach that. I got him.
All right, Enzo.
Got him. Oh, that's a fun.
You forgot to say it with that thick Brooklyn accent.
No, that was the reason why I didn't do it. I wanted to slip it in there and just let you catch that mid-sentence. Yes.
And he's 7 foot tall, and you can't teach that.
Fucking gravelly voice bastard.
Bada boom, realest guy in the room. How you doing?
I mean, he say what you will about him. He did get found innocent, though. I want to say, or the charges got dropped or whatever.
Oh,
the case he had against him.
I forgot about that. I thought
that's why he got fired.
I thought he was just out because he was just an ass.
No. He was like a champ when they like let him go. There was like, dude, we can't have you.
Yeah, he was a cruiserweight champ, and we all know how serious they took the cruiserweight division.
I mean, they built the division around him, so he's got to be doing something right. Oh God! All right, we digress. Apologies or not apologies.
Go Stars, go! That's the end of that.
Go Stars, go!
But I will say, so just a little bit more of a recap.
Yeah.
Currently, right now, as of recording at 8:05 on a Tuesday, April 30th, we have 2 games going on in the NHL that are 3-1, and they're getting kind of chippy. So,
chippy games. We like those.
And one of them's Boston, Toronto. That's always chippy. It doesn't. All you have to do is say Boston, Toronto, and it's
a pretty big rivalry.
The live money line right now has Toronto at even to win the game, and it's tied 1-1. So it should be fun.
Ooh. It's gonna be a photo finish on that one.
I don't know. I think Boston's gonna pull it out. I have a friend that's a Bruins fan, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna watch him get eliminated in round 1." I said, "Dude, y'all are playing Toronto." It's like, "Yeah, but I don't think we're gonna do that." Well, I said, "Dude, Toronto's gonna Toronto. Like, come on." Have faith in your team.
You got that. I'll agree with you. You got to have faith in your team.
Dallas got fucked by the fact that you can put somebody on long-term IR and then get other people. It doesn't affect your salary cap. Then when you take them off of IR, you would be over the cap. However, because in the playoffs, the cap doesn't matter. Like, come on. Like, seriously?
Yeah, right.
Have some faith in your team.
Well, regardless what the situation is, you got to have some faith, right?
You have Pasternak and you have the biggest rat in the NHL, Brad Marchand. Like, you'll be fine.
So one thing we did skip over when we kind of jumped to some positive stuff with the Stars news. We're gonna circle back to the NBA now. So we did have the Lakers deciding to at least drag it out one game at least, but they did end up falling to the Denver Nuggets in Game 5, 4-1. By look, I'll give them credit. They kept the games close and everything, but yeah, I'm with you. Thank God. Like nobody needs to see that. I'm so tired of hearing about like, oh, LeBron's gonna bring them all the way to the finals. Look, LeBron's a great player.
I have a thought.
Dude, there's just the Nuggets are too good this year.
I have a thought about the Lakers. When Kobe was on the Lakers, I feel like that team felt like something special. Like it felt like it belonged on a pedestal. That franchise, when they would come in, man, the Lakers are in town. Like, oh my God, like I can't wait to see this. Now it just seems like some kind of JV, like no one cares about them.
I mean, look, I'll tell you what.
Like they're still gonna get they're still gonna get the attention because it's the LA Lakers. But at the end of the day, like it just doesn't feel as special as a franchise anymore.
They're just not competing as consistently either. Like, yeah, they made the Western Conference Finals, but everybody kind of knew they weren't competing with Denver. Like they weren't going to beat
swept
Denver
last year.
I believe, yeah, they got swept last year as well. Well, they got swept last year.
At least they got the gentleman sweep it this year.
Yeah, I mean, look, and LeBron played great. AD had 17 and 14 last night, or 15, something like that. LeBron had 30, but when Jokic is going to go down as one of those players that's just one of the all-time best. Like this stretch he is on is incredible.
I kind of want to see them win the finals again so that I can see if he cares that they won like they did last year.
Dude, he's going out there and he's just doing a job, bro. And that's what you got to respect about him. He's like, wait,
I got to go take care of my farm. No, when after the game, he's just walking around like, I got to go home. I got to go take care of my farm. It's like, dude, enjoy the moment.
Yeah, during a press conference, they're like, oh, yeah, you're looking forward to the parade on Wednesday or whatever they said it was. He's like, wait, what? I got to say, wait, but I got to go back to my farm. Like, it's stuff like that. It's great. But he's so skilled as a basketball player, right? It's honestly kind of crazy. And then the biggest knock on him was his defense and his conditioning. Like, it took too long for him to get up and down the court and everything like that. But, dude, he's got in some phenomenal shape. So if he starts playing defense and is like improving his conditioning to like an elite level, oh, that's going to just absolutely be scary. And with Murray and Michael Porter Jr. now putting up like 30 points himself, like, come on, man.
I think that
gross.
I think it's because Europeans have this thing where they just play a more complete game. Basketball in Europe is way different than it is here.
Well, it's more wide open. You're starting to see it more here, but it's more wide open. It's more skilled players, right? Like, it's not like, oh, you're tall and thick, you play middle. It's like, no, you're going to learn how to dribble the ball and shoot and everything as well.
But it's also that
on the perimeter.
It's also they play defense.
Yeah.
You look at some of these scores and it's like, you know, what, 125 to 132, and it's like, is there defense in this game? You know,
I will say
right now the Knicks game, I'm waiting for the score to come back up, but it's, you know, they're in the 70s in the fourth quarter. When's the last time? 77 to 76. When's the last time you saw that score in the fourth quarter?
Well, that's a lot of that's two good defensive teams as well. But that's what you see in the playoffs. You see the good teams, right? With the play good defense and play good games, like
people. So this is what's funny. So people hate a defensive game in football. A majority of people.
Okay.
A majority of people would rather see a 35-33 game than see a 10-14 game.
Yeah, I mean, it is more exciting.
In
objectively.
basketball, I feel like a more exciting game is a good defensive game. These 77, 76s where it's not necessarily that they're missing shots a lot. It's just the defense is just so good that they're making you take tough shots.
Yeah, I mean, I feel to me, I'm good either way. Like if it's just an up and down offensive game and it's gonna come down to either A, who's gonna make a stop, or B, who's gonna make a mistake. I like those kind of games, or who's gonna have the ball last kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely agree with you. When you can see a good defensive performance, like a team's just playing great defense, it is something to watch too. I think there's benefits to take and pros and cons to each one of those if we're being truthful here.
Yeah. I mean, I played defense in like every sport that I played. So,
and it's great. Like, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like,
I mean, I say that, but like basketball, you play both sides. In soccer, I was a defender. So like, I had that mindset. In football, I played both sides of the ball. So I preferred playing defense when I played these sports because, except for soccer, I like bringing the ball up and, trying to, whip it into the middle to try to get somebody to score. But
like I said, I mean, there's a
sorry,
I was like, what?
I looked up, and they had this play where the player just like ran to the baseline and just tried to like whip it behind him, and I'm just...
So, well, all right. Well, I feel like we're giving the Lakers a little bit too much time there.
Yeah, they don't deserve any more time. They suck.
Anything else basketball wise you want to cover today, bud?
How wild is it that Joel Embiid played basketball and he couldn't blink one of his eyeballs?
I mean, I respect it.
He developed Bell's palsy because of the stress of this game.
Yeah, I mean, look, respect the freaking effort there. I mean, like that's dude, kudos to you, buddy. I mean,
like I watched they had a highlight where he was he's standing at the free throw line and you just see him. And I'm like, why is he blinking like that? And then I don't realize that he has Bell's palsy.
I give him all the credit in
the
world,
man. And then he's walking around, he's talking like this, and I'm like, dude, what is going on?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we were together. We were together when they said that.
Yeah, no, just imagine how he felt though. He's probably like, what the heck's going on with me right now? Like I could not imagine. I mean, look, it's high pressure. And I mean, look, the pressure is really on him. To be considered great, you at least have to get out of the first round of playoffs.
So here's my question. At what point can you start to judge the process in Philly?
Well, the process has been done.
Yeah, but they're like, trust the process. And
well, that process,
what do they have to show for it right now?
Well, you have Joel Embiid. That's essentially, if we're gonna be honestly say what the process netted everything.
You got one player in the process.
MVP.
Net. You got an MVP. Okay.
I mean, look,
I'm not hanging banners on an MVP.
I can't like objectively like bring every single piece and how it kind of all worked its way out because they made so many freaking moves. But I mean, look, they got some players. I'm fairly certain. I'm not sure if Maxey was part of any of those deals or draft picks that came from that deal. But I mean, look, it's either you stick in purgatory or you bite the bullet and you just stink for a few years, and then you get high draft picks. Unfortunately, that's the way it has to go.
I do know that if I had to, to get off of the Philadelphia, I keep wanting to call Phillies or Flyers, the Sixers, to get off of them for a minute, I do absolutely hate the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Chet Holmgren commercial that has been going around.
What a pro wants?
Yeah, I hate that commercial.
But what a pro needs?
Listen, that commercial, I've got 4 games on right now. It was on the Carolina Islanders game. Then when that one was over, it was on the Maple Leafs Bruins commercial. Then it was on the TNT broadcast, the Knicks game, and then it was on the Orlando Magic game. Back to back to back to back. I cannot stand that commercial. I can't hear either any of the things because I have headphones on, but if I could have gone through and just re-listened to that commercial 4 times in a row. That commercial is so dumb.
Hey, you don't want to listen to their tone deaf selves sing?
The first time I heard it, I was in the kitchen and I had it on in the background and the commercial played. and I like stopped what I was doing, looked up, and I said, "Why does it sound like cows dying in a field somewhere?" Like, that was terrible. I can't sing for shit. Those dudes are worse. They make me sound like I belong in a choir that plays in front of the Pope every week.
Jeez, that's an impressive choir.
That's
but hold,
like,
hold
it
on.
was that bad.
On another note, I think leaving it on a choir for the Pope is a great place to leave the NBA talk. Unless there's anything else you want to cover today on it.
No, I'm pretty done with basketball right now.
Yeah, I can tell.
Pelicans got eliminated. I'm done. Like,
Pelicans get eliminated. Joey gets a little salty. You know, he's like, I hate basketball.
Be loud, wear green, go Stars. Boom.
There it is. So bringing it to our next subject, I think it's time to talk about the NFL draft a little bit, which happened happened last week and this past weekend at time of recording. Like my headline said earlier, the Saints didn't mess it up. I was pleasantly surprised. You know, we went with value picks. There was a rumor though. I did hear this rumor not too long ago that apparently we tried to trade in the top 10 and not for the position you would think it was for.
Was it for quarterback?
Yeah, it's for Penix, apparently.
I did hear that.
Apparently we were trying to get up for Penix. So glad, and I mean so glad that the Falcons bit that bullet and decided to draft a quarterback, Michael Penix, number 8 overall, after paying $100 million to Kirk Cousins.
That's bananas to me.
So
my headline now says it. What the Falcons?
So let me start off with this.
Mm-hmm.
To anybody that's listening, yes, I understand the Green Bay Packers did the exact same thing with Jordan Love. Yes, I understand the Green Bay Packers did it with Brett Favre.
Can I go in a route that you're going to go?
You
can I take a guess what you're going to say?
Yeah, you can.
Those were completely different circumstances.
There were
because Brett Favre had won a Super Bowl. He had been there for decades. Then they draft Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers wins a Super Bowl. He had been there for a decade. Then they drafted Jordan Love. Atlanta signed Kirk Cousins, who hasn't won anything except for a division title in Minnesota, to $100 million contract. And they say, hey, while we're at it, we're going to draft a rookie. And not tell that quarterback that you're doing that until they're on the clock.
No, so I agree with everything you just said. Agree with everything. Actually, was going to be a further point, so you beat me to it a little bit. But here's my point, right? But I love it. I love it. Point is now, Green Bay with the Brett Favre thing. Multiple years beforehand, Brett Favre has flirted with retirement, right?
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Rodgers was considered one of the top 2 players in the draft, but due to need and some other outside things like coming from his Jeff Teffer offense, yada yada yada, he slid down the board. Like it's not like they traded up or went into the top 10 to take.
You're right. They did it. They got him late.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers.
They got him late.
Jordan Love they traded up with, but Aaron Rodgers has flirted with retirement and all this stuff because they're later in their careers, but they've been there 4 years. The problem is you bring this guy in, you are essentially, it's a 2-year window, right? The total contract's 4 years, $188 million. All the guaranteed money's in the front end. So you're essentially paying 90-something million, 100 million, somewhere in that range for a 2-year window with this guy before you get out with no cap hit or very little cap hit. Why in the world are you drafting your quarterback now? You can freaking wait. You're telling me you fell in love, and I watched the press conference. I watched everything about this. The thinking behind it is, oh, well, we'll be set at quarterback, so we'll never so when Kirk Cousins retires or is done playing or just we don't want him anymore, we'll start Michael Penix. Great theory, right? You know, some younger quarterbacks, I don't know, J.J. McCarthy or somebody else would have been a great subject to do this with because they're younger. They need time to marinate. Michael Penix is the oldest quarterback in this draft.
How old is Michael Penix going to be when his contract expires. His rookie contract expires.
If they pick up the 5th year, it'd be 29 years old.
They're going to be free agents at the same exact time.
Well, it's just not going to happen. So to me, if I'm Kirk Cousins, they're officially signaling to me that I'm not going to be the quarterback here past those 2 years. Because you had to play Penix. You can't
They front loaded that contract?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So
Speaking of that commercial.
Penix has to play. Yeah, it is everywhere. It's AT&T, man.
Yeah.
It's just always going to be there.
But you got to hate it for Michael Penix. Because he's that pick is getting shit on, and it's not his fault.
Well, I do like how the national media, a lot of people are like, "Hey, this is nothing against Michael Penix. He did everything right.
This is strictly the franchise that picked him. Like, what are y'all doing?"
Like, I get the concept and I get the thinking.
Do you know what this reminds me of?
But just take the.
Do you know what this reminds me of? That like, kind of reminds me of, and it involved Kirk Cousins as well.
Talk about the RG3 thing, huh?
When they drafted RG3 and then they drafted Kirk Cousins.
See that one, but see that's not as egregious though.
Wasn't it the same year?
It was the same year, but it's a 4th round pick, not the 8th overall pick in the draft.
But still, if I'm like on the air, I'm getting drafted to become this franchise's quarterback, and then in the 4th round, oh, we got another quarterback.
It's not so, especially back then, the way contracts were set up, dude. Like, as RG3 is, and even as they showed afterwards, that when Kirk Cousins was out playing him, they still try to play RG3. It's like it's just a pure money thing. I would have been worried, but I get what you're saying. It's not a great look, but this one by far leaps and bounds is the most egregious, bad business, bad F- pick. The greatest thing I've ever seen as a Saints fan, other than 28-3, Falcons failure wise, is the best way I can describe it. And I know that was a mouthful I just did there.
Do you know what's wild about that 28-3 game?
What's that?
I'm going to pull my headphone back, see if my wife can attest to this. That my mother-in-law was pulling for the Falcons because she hated Tom Brady.
No, can't do that.
I have told her many, many times. I'm like, you're no longer a Saints fan. Give me your Saints card.
I didn't like anybody. That's all it was.
I looked at it.
Comeback.
Yeah, like at first
that's
it's like,
what it was.
Refs win?
Yeah.
And then it's like you see the comeback start, and it's like, ooh, can this happen?
We were watching it together, weren't we?
I listened to the first half at work. I somehow got a stream of the radio broadcast for, I don't know if it was Westwood One or the Patriots broadcast.
Gotcha.
But I listened to the first half on that, and I remember thinking like, oh man, like this is now I got to deal with. We had a guy he was our security guy. He was a big Atlanta fan, and he's like, dude, this is our year. We're gonna rise up, blah blah blah. So as soon as I saw him the next day, I said, man, y'all really fell down. And he's like, dude, don't play with me like that. I said, nah, man, like you dealt that to me all season long with the Saints. It's your turn to get your comeuppance. Like, you know,
oh my God.
If y'all ever say, I said, if I ever hear an Atlanta Falcons fan say rise up one more time, every time I hear him say it, I'm gonna tell him 28-3.
Oh, dude, it's so great. It's so great. But
so and it's a joke that writes itself now because it like just automatically, like it just comes up.
This may be one of them that comes up closer, because dude, this is bad. Like this is bad business all around. You're trying to be the smartest guy in the room, but you're doing the dumbest thing possible.
I heard a theory on why they picked up Penix after picking up Cousins. You know, I think honestly they were thinking, you know, hey, Kirk Cousins isn't that good at prime time. Maybe we get a good starting quarterback in the draft. We'll start him those nights. We'll put him in the primetime games. We'll put Kirk Cousins in the like the noon kickoff.
I mean, you know,
I tell you what, that's probably the best. That's probably the best thing they can do.
I love the internet. I just love the internet.
Did you see the in our fantasy football group, the meme I sent?
Yes, I did. The Michael Vick thing. Seeing the
yeah,
left-handed quarterback named Michael.
All dogs in Atlanta seeing another left-handed quarterback named Michael.
Just freak out. Oh my gosh.
And
I
it's
s- I
just a
saw that.
dog. It's a dog with a bone in its mouth, just going.
Dude, I saw quite a few actually different dogs too. That meme. But I also saw one where it said Penix better wear number 15 so he can be the Pen 15 boys.
Dude, if he were to wear 15,
God, dude.
if he were to wear 15, and the
All
best
right.
part is like you and I listen to the same podcast. I don't know if you heard today's episode.
No, I didn't. Not yet.
Yeah, listen to it. You'll understand why I say it.
Okay. But real quick, we've had fun with the Falcons' expense. We are Saints fans, full disclosure, and it was great to watch. I do want to talk about the Saints a little bit. On top of that, like I said earlier, they didn't mess it up. They got Fuaga at tackle. I really like this dude's a real nasty run blocker. I think he's probably going to slide. They say left tackle, so we'll see. I thought he was more of a right tackle going into the draft, but we'll see if they can flip him over there, or maybe Pennig figures it out at the left side, and we have him the right side, 2 bookend tackles, which were definitely needed coming out of this year's draft. I think that's kind of one of the more obvious ones. Now, the next 2 picks, I absolutely just love the next 2 picks. Kool-Aid, McKinstry. Yes, on paper, it's not one of our biggest needs, but you're getting, according to some people, like a top 15 talent in the second round.
Easily.
Dude, his comp from a lot of people I saw was Marshawn Lattimore.
Who's moving to safety?
Well, cool.
Who are we moving?
I think Kool-Aid could actually move if we tried. You know what I mean? If they wanted to go that route, because I know he had some athletic stuff that was kind of a red flag. But I love him there. And then one intriguing pick is, great value, was Spencer Rattler. One guy I thought was going to go way earlier in the draft.
I'm not going to lie. When I saw we got Spencer Rattler, I was like, I didn't know he was getting drafted this year.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, he started off. You probably seen him on the Netflix show QB1, right? He was on there. He was one of the seasons, and it really didn't show him in the best of light. There was some wonky stuff at the end of his year, why he got kicked off the team, and then there were some things about personality and character. Look, the kid was 17 years old and has been propped up as the best thing since sliced bread. Of course, he's gonna be cocky. Of course, he's gonna be arrogant. And apparently, the thing he got kicked out of school for was allegedly, according to the internet, alcohol on campus.
He's a young kid.
Yeah, the kids make mistakes.
If he learns from it, maybe you bring it up in his pre-draft interview.
But one thing that was interesting though, like, because he was number 1 quarterback coming out of high school, went to Oklahoma, lost out to Caleb Williams, number 1 draft pick, then ended up going to South Carolina. By all reports, man, he had a great, he's a great teammate, work ethic, got better each year. This kid turned it around. The natural talent's there.
It's there. It's an attitude thing that I think he needed to go somewhere else that wasn't Oklahoma. He needed to go somewhere where
he could
be exactly. He needs to be, brought back down to earth a little bit. And South Carolina is not a bad school.
It's SEC, man.
You're in the best conference in college football. I don't care what the results of bowl games
but if you're looking to prepare yourself, right?
Yeah, like the best way to prepare yourself for the NFL is to go through the SEC. And I think, if you give it a couple years, he learns underneath a quarterback that has some talent, and then he takes his own moxie and his talent and pulls it in, he could be a good quarterback. But only time will tell with that.
So here's the range of outcomes, right, with him.
Mm-hmm.
Worst case scenario, head case, we cut him, doesn't make the team.
Mm-hmm.
Best case scenario, he sits behind Carr for 2 years, shows he has something. We get out of from Carr's contract. He starts from us, becomes a viable starter, right? Probably what's going to happen. Very talented backup.
Yeah.
which is not a bad thing to have, right?
And honestly, since Drew Brees is retired, we've needed a backup quarterback every year.
Yeah.
We've gone
Yeah.
to our backup every year. So,
And look, we didn't spend the 8th overall pick to do it either.
right.
And full circle, everybody, we're back.
My question is, so you got Jake Haener waiting in the wings also, you know.
I hate to say, bro, Haener was never going to be the next one.
I never thought he was going to be the next one, but, I figured it'd be a competition at some point.
I'm be honest with you. I went out to training camp, and I mean, no slight.
Mm-hmm.
No slight to Jake Haener, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to. How do I put this? Dude, he is noticeably, and I mean noticeably smaller than most people out there.
He's short. I haven't seen him in person yet, so
he's shorter. And I don't want to crap on the guy, but
it's basically everything that you knock Drew Brees for is height, but he's small.
Like, you know how people would over exaggerate Drew Brees' height, and you would take this image in your head that's like, oh man, he's not that small, guys.
Ian Book short?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I can visualize that.
Yeah. I mean, look, nothing against him. It's just
the odds are stacked against him.
I see him more as a Chase Daniel type. Very good backup. Going to be a guy that is going to probably be around the league for a long time. I just don't know. And look, and when I talk bad about Saints players,
I just think honestly,
I want to be wrong.
Yeah.
I want to be completely wrong.
I just think he can sling it. Like the little bit I saw him in preseason last year, he looked good. He was looking better than Carr at times.
No way, he's 6'1". Get out of here.
Who, Jake Haener?
Yeah, they have him listed at 6'1". There's no way.
He brought his tall man shoes that day.
Well, look, let me tell you. It's interesting, though. If you think about it, it's going to be a good discussion. Is that we took Haener in the 4th round last year.
Yeah.
Spencer Rattler is a 5th round pick.
That's going to be a good competition for who's going to be the second string.
Yeah, we should. It should be interesting.
Because in all, like, if you live in a vacuum, which we don't.
Unfortunately. No, we'll just mess with
hey, this rookie's coming in. He's naturally the 3rd string, and then he'll compete next year because the 3rd string will learn a little more or whatever.
Yeah.
So
it's a year-to-year business, man.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Well, one thing I just want to say real quick, some winners before we jump off to our last subject. Winners of the draft. I love what the Vikings did. Absolutely love it. I didn't dislike the Chargers draft either. Getting some needs. Joe Alt is no joke.
I feel like a lot of their draft was kind of like ours, where it's like it wasn't a lot of pretty, it wasn't a lot of, the exciting. It was, hey, we need this done, we need that done.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's gonna sound weird when I say this. As a Panthers, if I was a Panthers fan, there's some hope. There's some hope there. They got Xavier Legette from South Carolina. They traded back up into the 1st round and got him at 32. They got.
Have you
Jonathan
heard him?
Brooks?
Speaking
yes,
of Legette,
I have. Yes, I have.
That dude sounds like a guy from South Carolina.
Dude, I saw something on Twitter or X, whatever the hell you want to call it, saying that I would pay good money to watch Xavier Legette and the assistant coach from the Waterboy have a hour-long conversation. Dude, that was exactly my reaction. And it was almost like innocent too, like when he's when the woman's like, the reporter goes, well, did you have to pinch yourself this morning, like, because realize you're a Panther? And he goes, no, ma'am, I had to get myself up real early. They said they're gonna pick me up at 9:30 in the morning, so I had to get myself up real early. I had time to pinch myself.
He sounds like a very, like, he's like the innocent, like, Southern gentleman, or like Southern guys, like, oh yes, ma'am, we're gonna get there eventually. Not,
but like,
That's really terrible. I just did a Forrest Gump for his voice. I'm sorry, Xavier.
You did. You did.
I tried to
Like-
break it. My southern accent
Drifted
is just
into
too Forrest Gumpy. I'm sorry.
you lean
When
Gump
you've-
every
when
time.
you've-
You lean Gump every time.
Yeah, like that. It just leans Gump. Like I can't help it. Like,
Oh
last
my
like a
God.
box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. Like,
Dude. Great movie though. Great movie.
I
Long.
gotta say, yeah,
Long movie.
yeah, but fantastic movie. Probably one of the best movies
fantastic
ever
movie.
made.
I'll agree with that one.
Did you
But,
know? Just to be off
ahead.
topic
Yeah.
a little bit, because like we
Yeah.
like talking other things. Did you
That's why
know
it's
that
sort of split up.
9/11? Did you know that 9/11 stopped a second Forrest Gump movie?
I did.
That
I-
breaks my heart.
I mean, it's just another thing. Thanks Osama bin Laden.
Yeah, bitch.
But yeah,
no,
man.
like it's the draft overall. It wasn't anything to be like the most exciting thing I think that happened that entire draft was the Michael Penix pick. I definitely know our reaction. We were listening to them and they're like, they may take Michael Penix here, and I just like both of us leaned forward like, please, please, please.
Because when they talk about it right before the draft pick happens, it's a good chance, right? But apparently everything I heard, like there was rumblings leading up from like the beginning of like after the combine that like, oh, the Falcons may be in on him, and everybody's like, oh yeah, sure, they're in on him. Blah blah blah.
I could see if like he fell in the second round and it's like, hey, let's get him. That would make sense.
Or you trade or
Or-
you trade back.
Yeah, not a top 10 pick because, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is my opinion. If you're going to draft a quarterback in the first round, especially in the top 10, he's starting.
More times than not, yes. And
like
the
you're
whole
going to
reason-
have your Baker Mayfields where Tyrod Taylor wins where someone else wins the job, but it's yours to win back, or
Yeah.
an injury will happen and you take it over. Like I get that. Not, hey, we signed this $100 million quarterback and now you're coming into this situation. Like that.
Yeah.
The common sense is just gone from that conversation at that point, and it's wild.
No, it's 100% wild. Oh,
Sorry, I
but
was
think,
looking up. They were
we've,
talking.
like you said, the draft was a good.
Hmm?
No, you good.
No,
No, I'm
they
saying
had
you're
the
good. Like all
the
this-
Knicks game. The Knicks game went to overtime, and they had Ernie Johnson talking. And I'm like, something went wrong.
What I wonder what Brunson scored so far because I almost took that boost they had on FanDuel tonight, but I didn't do it.
I got
Just
you,
for him to
fam.
score 30. But yeah, man, like I said, getting back to the draft, there were some things I liked, things I didn't like, but overall there wasn't anything egregious, like except for the Falcons. Like they had a pretty wild second round pick they traded up for too, or for a guy who's a pure developmental project.
Mhm.
I mean, of course, in a vacuum, you kind of have to look at this draft. I usually say about 2 to 3 years after it happens to figure out how good they actually are. The draft actually is.
Mhm.
So it was interesting. Like I said, I'm really happy with the Saints draft. They didn't mess it up and they didn't do something off the wall. So I count that as a win. Now, the last thing I think we want to talk about today is our good friend, Shohei Ohtani, and his nice friend interpreter.
Man, oh man, oh man,
Dude. The latest
Woo!
story actually kind of came out before we started recording was that 16 million they finally leaked where that or they finally released where that was linked to was casinos in Vegas and in California. How wild is that? I still don't understand how he was able to have access to these accounts. And are you telling me that Shohei just has that much FU money that he doesn't notice $16 million missing?
He probably doesn't pay attention to his bank account.
Oh, 100% he doesn't.
He probably has a financial person who sat there and said, like, hey, you're going to handle my account. And that person, probably got word from the interpreter, and the interpreter's like, hey, look, like, we just need to get this money for this, and we need to take care of that, and he needs this. And they're like, okay, yeah, sure thing.
Well, that's That's what the theory was. Is that literally like he had access because Shohei didn't speak English. But the thing is, though, I also heard that he knows enough English to hold a conversation.
I've heard that too.
Yeah, and it's hard for me to believe he's been over here for this long and hasn't picked up enough English to figure out what the hell is going on.
Did Hideki Matsui have an interpreter his entire career with the Yankees?
I'm not sure about his entire career, but I vividly remember him having a.
I know he had an interpreter for a while.
Yeah,
but then I remember like seeing players like talk to him, and he just looking at him, going like, "Yeah," like agreeing with them. And I don't want to say it's like one of those situations where it's like, oh, he doesn't know what he's agreeing to. Hideki, why don't you start in this ad where you look like Godzilla? Yeah. It's like,
yeah,
no, that's totally like, don't do that. Yeah. Like,
so according to Google, Matsui, former Yankee, arrived in New York in 2003. He can handle a casual conversation in English as long as it's not too far advanced. So like he can hold a basic conversation, right?
What is considered basic conversation?
So you're not going to throw around like big words at him. Like he can be like, I'm sure he's not going to have huge, long conversations.
Like I'm not going to walk up to Hideki Matsui and go, Hideki, your career was splendiferous. Like,
yeah,
how did you handle the pressure in the Big Apple of New York City? It would have to be like, you were so good. How did you do it? Like
that kind of thing.
Is that like, okay.
That's what I'm assuming it is. Like I can't read the context of this, but that's what I would assume is that it's something along those lines. So I mean, he's got to be able to. I couldn't imagine Shohei, and I've actually heard that he can speak Spanish too.
Ohtani,
or that Spanish was easier for him to pick up. Well, I mean, there's a fair amount of Spanish-speaking players in the MLB, so that I mean, apparently it's easier for it to learn Spanish instead of to transition to learn Spanish from Japanese. There's your fun fact.
I mean, I know that's like the easier language to learn because that's what they teach almost every high school kid.
Well, yeah.
But
I'm just saying, that's what I heard. That's what I heard.
Japanese to Spanish. I could see Italian to Spanish.
Well, yeah, they're both love languages.
Portuguese to Spanish.
Both love languages. They both come from Latin. Huh. So I think on that note, is there anything else you want to drop knowledge on today, Joey?
Netflix just dropped a trailer for a new miniseries.
Okay.
About Formula One driver Ayrton Senna.
Okay.
And I hope like hell it is the greatest series Netflix has ever put out.
I mean, when's it come out?
It's supposed to come out later this year.
Okay.
But if like I don't know if you've seen the documentary Senna.
No, I haven't seen it.
Fantastic documentary. I recommend anybody who has time to watch it. But it's the trailer basically opens up from the Brazilian Grand Prix in 91 that Ayrton Senna won. I'm not no spoiler. Like it's a real life event. Look it up. But it looks intense. It in a way kind of has the Lifetime movie network feel to the trailer. I don't know if that's because it's primarily a Brazilian show or if it's
they're gonna ratchet up
the trailer. Like I am hoping that this show is one of the greatest shows they put out. I mean, if you're gonna make a documentary about Ayrton Senna, or a show about Ayrton Senna, you cannot you can't pull back. You have to full bore, full emotion, full like intensity and everything. If you've ever seen this dude wheel a Formula One car, it's like you see the car go into a turn and he's doing this, going into the turn. He was on edge all the time. I want to see that. Snap. I want to see that.
Well, I mean, we just have to wait and see, huh, bud?
I'm excited. Netflix, do not fuck this up.
One other thing on Netflix I'll say before we sign off here is don't forget the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight. They just dropped the lines for that fight. Mike
You can
Tyson
bet
is
on
the
that fight.
Oh yeah. Mike Tyson is the underdog right now at plus 130. So there's your little
What's
tidbit.
the line? What's the line for Jake Paul?
I was like minus 170. Yeah, and that line's gonna move towards Tyson. I have a feeling. Now it's via DraftKings. So if you're listening and you want to go get it now at plus 130.
It's
on
going to
that-
stream. You don't have to pay any extra to see that. do you?
No. That's regular Netflix. You best believe I'm gonna be watching it too. You best believe I'll be watching that.
When is it?
It's July 20th, I believe. Let me double check.
Oh man, I have a thing.
You
haven't-
cannot tell me you don't have any kind of curiosity for that at all.
Mike Tyson's going to fucking murder Jake Paul.
And you don't
He's
want to
going
see
to forget.
this.
He's going to forget whatever. No, because I didn't Google Faces of Death when that was a website in the internet.
Yeah, I fully intend on watching that.
I'll
just
watch
to-
it. I'll watch it after. But I mean, like, if it I watch it on like YouTube highlight or whatever.
It's
'cause
on
you know it's
Netflix.
gonna- But still, I got to open the Netflix app.
Okay.
I got to search for it.
You got to
Like,
open.
I
Time
I
out.
got to open. I got to open it. What?
Time out. If you're gonna say that you're gonna watch it on YouTube, you're gonna have to open YouTube.
I'm
No, no,
already
no,
on
don't-
YouTube
no,
anyway.
asshole! Don't give me this. No. This is lazy bullshit here. Fucking. I have to open Netflix. You do realize you open Netflix around that time, it's going to be the back banner thing. You probably don't have to search for it. You just open it, you hear da-dum, and click on the thing. That's probably what's going to happen. But you're talking about because they paid way too much money for this to happen, and then you're going to have. But you tell me you want to go through Netflix. I mean, you YouTube, then search for it, then do it. Joey, I cannot agree. I love you to death, buddy, but I cannot agree with you on that one.
Like
It's okay.
when they
It's okay. We
announced
can
it.
disagree.
When they announced it, I'm like, I can't be bothered. Like, what's next? They're gonna pull Muhammad Ali from the grave, and they're gonna say, "You're gonna fight somebody," and he's gonna go, "Yes, guys, I'm gonna fight somebody." Like, no, that's not happening.
Ooh, well, now I'm sad.
Like it. At what point are we gonna start promoting like these up and coming fighters? Like,
Oh, boxing,
we're-
dude.
boxing's
That's not what
dead.
That's
need
not
to
what
stop-
boxing's for anymore.
Yeah, we need to stop this shit. Boxing, like,
No. Boxing is for YouTubers now, Joey. Come on now. On that note,
so when are you fighting?
I mean, sometime soon. I mean,
When are you
Put 'em
announcing your fight against Logan Paul?
well, dude,
You're gonna take his United States Championship.
damn right. SummerSlam.
You better
Book it.
watch it though, because you
In
might get
his
hit in the face with a Super
hometown.
Bowl ring.
I saw that last night. Did you see the picture of JD McDonough's head?
That's not real, is it?
Dude, I hope it is. That's hilarious if it is. But well, I guess we'll just have to leave kayfabe
Oh,
on that.
oh.
What
On
you got?
that note, I got to shout out Tony Khan for wearing the neck brace at the freaking War Room for the Jags. That
Yeah.
was hilarious.
But the only thing is, though, he proceeded to later go on NFL Network and call WWE the Harvey Weinstein of the wrestling industry.
Listen, I can't agree with everything the man says, but what I can
God.
do is say, hey,
Oh,
he's
I appreciate it.
playing it still in the NFL.
Oh, he's not even traveling to the shows because he's playing up the not
I'm
clear to
injured.
travel thing. Yeah.
Oh,
So, yeah.
man.
So yeah, like Tony, you kind of going a little kooky towards the
I
end.
think
of
it's-
the last
I
few
think
years.
I think that's honestly like him just trying to, get the shock factor, talking about his business and all that.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't have been the verbiage I used, but maybe I would have portrayed it more as like, hey, we're going up against established WWE, but we put on a great product and everything like that. Not the hey, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Their former owner used to be a real jerk of a guy.
That's Vince's fault.
Look, and I'll disagree with you, but all right. Before we get down that rabbit hole, I think this is a good stopping point for today. So in closing, enjoy sports. We're in a great time. Playoffs are fantastic. Even if your team's out of it, still watch it, still support it. Watch your hockey, watch your basketball.
Go
Go
Stars!
Stars.
Woo!
See you next time. Joseph, anything for the people.
Peace!